So there's still a few more tournament games for me to record, but I'm waiting just to get on with Blatham to record those properly. And a little birdie told me that I have way more recordings than there are days until the network test. So yeah, I'm just gonna throw this out as a solo cast here, just to keep stuff coming out while we all wait for that second network test to come along. This game we got TepidKong, who people probably know much better by the name R-Hacker, who's Grandmaster. And also, fun little fact, if you see my little ace avatar, they actually drew that against obviously the well-known Ferocca for winning Duelyst World Championships. So this is a battle of two excellent players. Should be a good one. TepidKong on some sort of line, I can't tell just from a Windblade Adept, while Ferocca seems to be playing Obelisks. I guess we're most likely to see the Fireblaze on account of it being able to clear the Windblade Adept. Although, actually, now I say it, obviously you can tell I'm not an Obelisk player because you can just play that down at any time to buff the Obelisk after it's spawned. So that's why we're seeing the Windstorm Obelisk here. Matters slightly less if it's destroyed or dispelled. In terms of value, Fireblaze Obelisk is still the most valuable obelisk, even though that Windstorm buff is quite nice. And yeah, is also another one that actually does feel good just to play it onto a board with some dervishes on it. Sometimes your opponent doesn't expect that additional movement, and then you get them. I'm also seeing a Maelstrom, Time Maelstrom from Ferocca. It's probably get replaced away, but it could be I mean, it's basically the best thing you can do on 9 mana. Even if you don't end up doing anything with it, the fact that it draws you a card and lets you move and position, everything exactly where you want it to be. It's yeah, it's hard to argue with that. The only weakness is that you have to survive to get to 9 mana, which is easier said than done, actually. And we're actually not going to see the Fireblaze here because it's just not efficient compared to playing the Poor Guardian and the Primus, because the Primus is going to give the Dervish enough attack to kill the Windblade anyway. And let's set this Poor Guardian up as soon as possible to start getting that attack buff on the go. And we might just see a Siphon Energy come out as a -3 attack. It won't be enough to save your Obelisk, but it's certainly not a bad shout. Just to remove a massive amount of attack off Windblade. Will save your Poor Guardian, for instance. It means that trade becomes impossible. Wonder if TepidKong's on Bond. I know they used to like that deck quite a lot, even when it wasn't super popular. I suspect it might be what they're running. And if they can deal with the Portal Guardian here, they might have an option of simultaneously dealing with the Obelisk just by cutting off all its spawn positions. It's always something you should keep an eye out for when you're playing against Obelisk, because if when they're against the wall, especially in the corner, it can be quite easy to. But that looks like it's not going to be necessary here. Lightbender is just going to dispel both those key targets. And that's super good value, feels pretty nice. And gonna move up and defend this top mana tile as well. I wonder if we'll see a replace from Ferocca. They're definitely thinking about it. But what they could do is just play an Obelisk, and the Primus Fist would let them, with an extra 1 attack, clear off the Lightbender. And developing a Fireblaze Obelisk is always fine. I wonder if they do that where they'd put the obelisk. I guess you might just be able to see. This Fireblade's obelisk is I mean, its static effect is so valuable that sometimes you can just play it back, but most of the time you do want your obelisks positioned where they're actually going to have dervishes hitting something. It's not too bad to have them played back though. If you think you're going to be playing defensive, you can like use them as a fallback position. Your opponent doesn't want to approach. Taking the Mantar to get to 6 mana. That looks like an MO play. Yeah, rather nice. Yeah, Ferocca actually didn't play around that at all when they could have. You can only play around it so much, but the Fireblaze obelisk could have been positioned away from that. Of course, the Primus Fist had to be near the Poor Guardian. Though you could have done something like play the Fist, then move the Portal Guardian. I think at that point you're probably playing around it way more than you need to, but it's potential, isn't it? This hand is not too great. It's just as a virtue of having 2 0 mana cost cards. 0 mana cost cards tend to not be very high impact. And indeed, if TepidKong doesn't play something that's actually worth dispelling, then we're definitely going to see one of those go away. I think probably even if they do play something worth dispelling, you replace the spell one to try and find something to spend your mana on. Actually gives you some impact on the turn. Let's see though, it is possible that there's two targets coming requiring a dispel. I don't know what they'd be, so I don't imagine that's what's going to happen. But for the time being, these little Orb Weavers are playing a little nice defensive play. Could easily get swept away by Tempest now. But if there's no such thing as remove them, they could make for nice trades. Indeed, one of those goes away. It's definitely not enough direct damage here to get a kill. And HP is so low that you need to play defense. Yeah, that it's totally fair concede. It's been pressured way too hard into the corner and just didn't have the hand to deal with what was being put out. GG's.